Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general monthly reading for the sign of Pisces, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for the month of May. I hope you're well. We're using the Lost Forest deck for you today. I'll shut the window as soon as this is burnt down a little bit so I don't choke myself out. Anyway, do I have anything to tell you? I don't. If the reading resonates with you, there will be an extended at the end of this. The link will be down in the description box. You can go and check it out. I've been sat in a pre-meditation before I started this this video recording, and I have to say I feel really muted. I feel really kind of subdued, and I feel very much like this is your energy at the moment. Let's have a look and see what the cards say. But there's definitely an air of kind of contraction going on at the moment. That's the best way I can describe it. Do you know what? I'm going to shut this window now anyway, because apparently everybody and their fucking wife is out. Driving around my little village today. So let's have a look. Can I have 3 cards for Pisces, please? Here we go. First one, your recent past, is the 2 of Earth. That's the 2 of Pentacles. Tell me about current energy for Pisces, please. We have another Earth card, the 3 of Pentacles, with the Queen of Swords in reverse. That's interesting. And it's coming towards Pisces, please. We have the Page of Wands, which has also come out in the reverse. We've got the 5 of Cups at the bottom of the deck. It's a Scorpio card, and it deals with things of loss, specifically kind of attaching yourself to, the sense that you have lost something and being unable to see anything outside of that. It's followed by the 5 of Swords, which sort of suggests that your thinking about something is a little bit skewed at the moment. The card that was the wrong way round just there that I flipped about is the 10 of Pentacles, which talks about your stability and your security. It can talk about commitment and things like that. It can actually talk about your home, your business, that sort of thing. But I can't help but notice we've got 2 5s then equaling a 10, right? And it seems like there's a frame of mind that you're in at the moment that is not sitting well with you. I think that's probably the best way to put it. Interesting that we've got no major arcana on the table at all at this point. And it is the Shadow and Light Tarot that is wanting to come out and be used for you here. Just putting those 2 cards to the side because they're extra... They're extra archetypes which I do not feel are relevant for this reading. It's reader and astrologer. I'm just going to pop those there. And there you are as the Hanged Man at the bottom of the deck. That in and of itself is interesting because the Hanged Man, as well as being the card of Pisces, talks about needing to kind of flip a situation around and look at it from a different perspective. And I do get a sense of that with you this month here, Pisces. So let's have a look at the 2 of Pentacles. Why is that here for Pisces, please? We have the King of Wands. We have a couple of cards that came out together there. What's that? We've got the 4 of Pentacles and the 8 of Wands. Tell me about the 3 of Pentacles and the Queen of Swords, please. We've got the 3 of Pentacles in reverse. Interesting. Tell me about the 3 of Pentacles and the Queen of Skies without putting my candle out, if at all possible. What do we have here? We have the Knight of Wands. A lot of wand energy here. Tell me about the Page of Wands. Why is that in reverse here? We have the 4 of Wands. And we have the 10 of Cups. Right. Okay. The element that we have at the bottom here, in addition to having extra archetypes, it also has the elements depicted, is fire followed by water. Interesting. And then the Queen of Swords underneath that. What an intriguing set of cards. And I think that the fact that fire and water are at the bottom of those, well, it's never a coincidence, right? But there is a feeling of you feeling a little bit put out. Now, I know you're a water sign, and so there's this raging fire energy, which is actually rampaging through your cards here, is something that isn't it is an energy that does not sit well with you anyway, right? It kind of makes you steam a little bit. But there's something quite interesting going on here, and I can kind of feel you flip-flopping between one thing and another. What is very, very clear is that there is some sort of action here that you are wanting to take that is... it's leaving you slightly perplexed. What we've got in your recent past is the Two of Pentacles, right? That card of balance often, but it's talking about, you know, kind of juggling. It's responsibilities and duties as offset against, you know, other things. It talks about energetic currency. That's what the pentacle suit is for me. So anything that you can invest becomes a pentacle. And cards number 2 always talk about the internal space for me here. So what we've got is you trying to stabilize yourself in some sort of way, right? Because it's a 2, it's possible that it relates to a new start or the possibility of a new start. But there's something about how things stand at the moment that you're not quite sure about, right? It's taking a little bit of work to try and get you to a place where you feel comfortable with it, because the overriding feeling across all of these cards is a feeling of discomfort. Now, underneath the Two of Pentacles, we've got the King of Wands, which is a card of Leo, and it could be that there's a Leo involved here somewhere. But we also have the Four of Pentacles, and we have the Eight of Wands, more fire energy here, fires and pentacles, certainly this part of the reading. But if you're not dealing with a Leo, then the King of Wands is about that certain dynamism, you know, that we see present in the Wand suit, which is all about living and experience and passion and creativity and all that sort of thing right here. So the King of Pentacles is about taking decisive action in towards something or away from something, you know, whatever it is, action. But because it's king rather than a knight, and we do have the knight depicted a little further down here, it's sitting in a state of objectivity and wisdom and discernment, right? Because the thing that marks the King of Wands out, you know, separate from the Knight of Wands, is that he has been through a Knight of Wands phase. He has acted impetuously. He has perhaps at times acted recklessly towards things. And through age and experience, he has garnered the wisdom that now shows him where it is right for him to deploy all of that energy that he has, you know, all of that drive, all of that that zest for life. But next to it, right next to it, we have the Four of Pentacles, which is often talking about holding on to things a little bit too tightly. Now, this is the first indication, really, of where this friction and this tension is occurring for you, because it's definitely about moves that you want to make, but it seems a little like there's a release that needs to occur in order for that to happen, and I'm not sure that you're comfortable with that yet. I'm not sure that you're ready to do it. This Two of Pentacles has a kind of toing and froing energy about it. Like, how do I really feel about this? I'm not actually really sure. Let's pull some extra cards for this, because this is really intriguing. I wonder, with the fire and earth, the fire and water elements at the bottom of the deck there, whether there's an element of you second guessing yourself. Like, obviously water is your element. It is where you are comfortable. You're used to being intuitively guided by things. But there's this very active, almost destabilizing energy here of fire that is incredibly present. It's requiring you to do things now, and I don't think that you're comfortable with the extent to which you need to do things now. Not yet, anyway. Tell me about this Four of Pentacles, please. Thank you. We have the Four of Cups in reverse. Thank you. We have the Star in reverse. There are quite a few reversed cards coming up here, and we've got the Judgment card. Are you being made to feel like you should be being grateful for something that you don't actually feel is necessary at this point? You know, we've got this Four of Cups in reverse, which is where it's in the upright. It talks about rejection, and it talks about taken for granted, being taken for granted. You know, sometimes it can talk about rejecting. In its inverted state, it often indicates to me a state of gratitude, but this is not something that you are feeling comfortable with, right? This is actually something that you don't feel at all, actually, is how this feels. We've got the Star in reverse. And often that card speaks to me about connection, and perhaps there is a connection that's kind of fallen by the wayside, and you see that it's fallen by the wayside, but yet the other person hasn't, and they're kind of still haranguing you about the fact that you should be grateful about the fact that they have done X, Y, and Z for you. And we've got the Judgment card. I really do feel you doubting yourself at this point, Pisces, just like, am I right? You know, have I kind of lost myself somewhere along the way here? This is very intriguing to me. Because what we've seen in the last few months is you absolutely gearing up to move away from X, Y, and Z. And we even see that reflected here in this Eight of Wands, because rather than incoming, which is usually how the wands are depicted, these ones are actually being ejected from a fire. Right? Really interesting spin on the cards there. We've got the Page of Wands, and I do think it is, I do very much think it's related to this new chapter in your life that you are, I was going to say trying to bring about, but what we've seen in the energy up until this point, certainly in the last few months, is that this is very much underway, this is very much occurring. Where did that go? Oh, there it is. Knight of Swords. Perhaps people are trying to change your mind at this point. And that this is presenting in quite an aggressive way towards you, certainly verbally aggressive, you know, very challenging kind of behaviours here with the Knight of Swords coming in, and all related to your shift. We've got the Ten of Cups at the bottom of the deck here, which is interesting because was that not? Yes, it was. No, it was the Ten of Pentacles. Both cards that speak about culmination. We've got the Ten of Pentacles, which is the pinnacle of the Pentacle suit, the Ten of Cups, which is the pinnacle of the Cups here. It seems like to other people you are forcibly ejecting yourself from what is a stable and emotionally balanced, at least in their mind, situation. And I don't think that they have quite appreciated just how much turmoil they are creating in you with their reaction to this. It feels quite selfish. I'm not going to pull my punches here, of these people to be laying this on you in the way that they are. In your current energy, we have the Three of Pentacles and the Queen of Swords. Now, the Three of Pentacles is a really good card, right? It talks about cooperation and collaboration, working together with some people, right, to build something new. That's what we like, right? And the Three energy is very external. So it's involving other people. It's how you are interacting with your external space. Notice that we go from the Two to the Three here, right? Two of Pentacles in your past, Three of Pentacles showing up here in your present. So that's progression, that's moving on. And that ordinarily would be a very nice combination of cards to see, because you see the, you know, going from a contemplative planning stage, you know, you're dealing with all of this stuff here, to then having an external expression. But what really troubles me is that we have this Queen of Swords here following it up, and she is in the reverse. Now, in the upright, she is a very good friend to you, right? It's Libra energy, and she's incredibly discerning, right? That's what she talks about. She's got, you know, incredible logic, wisdom coming out of her ears, right? And not overly emotional, which is something that would have been very useful for you in the process that you are undergoing at the moment, right? She sifts information and she works out what is right and what is true and what is not. The troubling thing about her being upside down here in this reading for me is that is this possibly lack of good judgment that she implies, right? Or at least, at the very least, a certain amount of kind of foggy thinking about how you work with other people, right? And if what I'm feeling is right here, and you are, you know, you're experiencing that sort of what feels to be, you know, relatively aggressive, and I'm saying that in a Piscean sense as well, right? So my daughter's My daughter is a Pisces, and she finds certain, she can find conversations very confrontational, right? And actually really quite aggressive, which as a fire sign is something that I've had to learn to tone down very, very hard. There's no aggression meant behind it, but it's how she perceives it, right? So when I'm saying aggression, I mean it in that sense, not in a actually, physically abusive a sense or anything like that, right? It seems to have turned your thinking upside down, and now you don't seem to be thinking very clearly about the way forwards. We've got this Three of Pentacles here with the Knight of Wands, and actually that looks to me very much like the reaction that you're having at the moment is to run away, is to, I've got wax on the back of there from when it jumped onto that, right? The Knight of Wands always talks about movement, but it often talks about the sort of movement that isn't terribly well thought out, right? It's just sort of grabbing your stuff and going. Can sometimes talk about travelling and things like that, but notice how it's rearing up at this Three of Pentacles here. It's almost like the notion of all of this has sent you kind of spiralling. The thought of having to stay put where you are, and I mean that in any kind of sense. Like, it doesn't need to include geographical movement, it absolutely can, but it doesn't have to. This could be very much an energetic thing, because it feels to a lot like you've been trying to extricate yourself from a situation, and while that was all internal and you hadn't let anybody else in on that, that was working very, very well. But now other people are getting involved, and they are putting up quite a fight. And like I said, that actually feels like it's coming from a selfish place rather than one that actually is considering your well-being. And it feels like it's kind of triggering your flight mode quite hard, but then, which is where we see all of this fire energy coming in. But then it's being tempered by your emotional side. Oh, and there's the Nine of Swords at the bottom of the deck, and it's like, oh, maybe I'm being selfish, maybe I am being awful, maybe these people really do need me, and actually it was too early for me to take these steps that I've been after doing. Don't fall into a hole with this one, Pisces, because I actually think that your rhetoric and your reasoning and everything that has gone into you making these decisions has been the right thing for you, very much the right thing for you. And we have here the Fool and the Queen of Swords in the upright, right? Your instinct about the new start is absolutely spot on for you, right? And do not allow anybody to, in whatever way, make you feel like you have not employed your discernment appropriately here, because that is untrue. It's palpably untrue. But I can see an element of sort of panic here. Emotional panic in following through with what it was that you decided for yourself. Almost to the point of you wanting to kind of drop everything and just go, not even follow the well-laid plans that you'd set out for yourself. Well, notice that we've got the Four of Wands behind the Nine of Swords here. That is the construction of a new foundation. It's the creation of a new foundation. It is the card of home and celebration, right? But anew rather than the old. And you're being counseled not to move too swiftly here, not to engage in any kind of knee-jerk reactions. That's not a particularly Piscean trait anyway, but there's so much fire here, and that Queen of Swords is in reverse, that it feels like you're kind of being pushed so far out of your comfort zone that you're reacting in a way that you are not accustomed to doing. One more for this Knight of Wands. Oh, thank you. We've got the Page of Cups. Yeah. A card which is, for me, a Piscean card anyway. But it's so much more hesitant, right, than a usual Page of Cups that we see. There's usually a level of engagement between the cup and the physical engagement, really, between the page and between the cup, right? In so much as the page is usually holding it, is having a conversation with the fish that is sitting in here. The tone of this card, that kind of odd sulfuric quality that the clouds have there, and the fact that this young girl is dressed in black, She's looking a little bit like Wednesday Addams, to be honest. And she's engaging with what is in the cup, but from a safe distance. And it's not a fish, it's an octopus, you know. The presentation of this card here suggests that there have been all sorts of things that have been emotionally thrown up for you here, and that there are things for you to look at that you had not quite expected. None of this is actually to do with the people who are putting up such a fight here around you. This is all about your own reaction to all of this, right? And it could be that this has been unexpectedly aggressive and you actually just don't know how to deal with this at all. But kind of looking at it from a safe distance, right? Ready to bolt if necessary, right? What has this whole experience thrown up in you? What needs looking at here? Because it feels like it's an opportunity to heal something, certainly to get clearer about the way that you see the world and perhaps the way that you respond to those important people around you, you know? We've got the Seven of Swords and the Ten of Wands at the bottom of the deck here, which is an interesting combination. But this Ten of Wands is talking about burden, right? I love it in the Triple Goddess because it's the one deck that I have where she's actually put the burden down and she's having a rest. But this Seven of Swords is an interesting addition to the reading because it can sometimes talk about risk-taking. And there's an element of that in what it is that you're doing here. But it can also talk about deception, whether that is, you know, deceptive practices to people around you or self-deception. And I feel like either of those could be true because it might actually be that this is the thing that's being triggered in you here, some sort of implication that you have behaved deceptively or were trying to stalk off like a thief in the night, you know, that kind of element there. Or it can talk about self-deception in so much as you have had no idea quite how much you have been burdened by the emotional relationships around you, right? And how much you need this release. It seemed like a good idea and something that you were very comfortable with for a while, like I said. And you've had some time to really adjust your thinking to what it will be like to do things in a new way, in a new place with new people, you know, or maybe with no people, just on your own, you know. But the presentation of this energy as it's sitting here now, it's allowing the scales to fall from your eyes, and you have truly been burdened with this, where you have carried it with, you know, a certain amount of grace over the years, you know, and you've just been like, oh, I'll be here where people need me and that's fine, you know, I'll always shelve what I want to do and what I'm interested in order that I am in the right place for the people that need me. Like, that has taken an incredible toll on you, and I don't think that you quite perceived how much until now, right? I have to add that all of these cards are screaming to me that your judgment is sound. What you have planned to do is sound, and actually there is no need to deviate here from the path at all. This minor detour, and it is a minor detour, is actually into an aspect of your reaction to everybody else's reaction to your news, right? It's an opportunity for deeper contemplation of yourself. And this is something that you've been very interested in recently anyway. So what we have here coming towards you is the Page of Wands in reverse. And that I find to be a little bit troubling too, because the pages are all about, you know, the starting point in a shift towards something new, whether it's discovering something new or, you know, an openness to something new, or with the Page of Wands, getting excited about something new, right? It is a precursor to movement rather than movement itself with the page. And this one always talks to me of that excitement that one feels about the new things that one is planning to do, you know, that kind of pre-holiday excitement, you know, when you're packing your suitcase and it's full of anticipation about what it is that you're going to do and experience and smell and taste and feel when you go somewhere else. The fact that it comes up in the reverse here feels like it could be a delay, or it could be just a reduction in the amount of excitement that you now feel, like it's been tainted a little bit in some way. Tell me this Page of Wands. Thank you. Ooh, we have the Death card with the Eight of Pentacles. Intriguing. The two main clarifiers that I pulled here were the Four of Wands and the Ten of Cups. And that Four of Wands energy, you know, it's already been out for you before. It's about, you know, creating a new foundation for yourself. It is about that celebration of the new. You know, we have two people coming together in a wedding scene here. Right? This, the first bit of the new, the first step of the new cycle of being a wedded couple rather than, you know, just together. And it's a scene of great celebration. You would get all of one's friends and family in to experience this, because it is something that is worthy of celebrating, right? There's your energy. There's perhaps where you thought everybody would be with you. But then we have this Ten of Cups, which is about, well, actually look at it. It could well be the same couple taking themselves away, you know, from the great big ceremony, and then being in this state of collective happiness, because there's more than just the one of them. There are now two. Tell me about this. Thank you. Right. So what I'm seeing here for you, Pisces, is not is almost like it's not set in stone. The temptation would be to have this experience tainted for you. The experience, the temptation would be to be less excited about this thing. The temptation would also be to perhaps, in that way that you have always done, shelve what it is that you have planned and where you are going and what you are doing, right, for the benefit of other people. This is quite interesting. This is not often how I read this energy, you know. It's like, well, this is coming towards you, and it's like, well, this could come towards you should you choose to let the energy affect you in this way. But the cards that are coming out around it are quite interesting, because like I said, we've got this Death and this Eight of Pentacles here. We've got the Four of Swords in reverse, and we have you there as the Page of Cups, Knight of Cups, beg your pardon. This is movement. Both of these cards talk about movement here for me. The Four of Swords is stillness, right? It is my meditation card. There is literally a woman meditating on there. It's about rest and recovery and a non-movement. In the reverse, it's about coming out of that state. It is about then actioning something, right? Where this card can sometimes talk about withdrawing, it's about coming out in some sort of way, right? And this very much is about you coming out and you taking your cup and going off into the world with it, right? There is the movement that we're talking about. And it's not fast, but then it's not slow either. Where the temptation is to just stop and maybe just not move for a second, so people kind of take their eye off you and the heat comes off you a little bit. It's like, actually, no. This month is all about pushing forwards for you. We have the Death card, which is all about transformation. It can talk about endings, but the way that I see endings is that they're basically just beginnings, you know, depending on where you're looking at it from. It's one and the same thing, but it does talk about absolute transformation. And more than that, we have then a card of putting your head down and continuing to work at something. So we have you, not continuing to work at something, actually putting the work into something. We have you putting in the effort to transform the energy that could come towards you should you choose to accept it, which is that of a lack of movement, a lack of change. In fact, everything's staying the same for the good of other people, not for yourself. It's interesting because this is a very sideways take on this, right? And I honestly think it's because you're Pisces and you're so nuanced anyway. This month is all about what you choose to do, the way in which you choose to perceive the situation that you're in. You know, this 5 pairing that we have at the bottom of the deck here, it feels very destabilizing to you, right? Well, to me even, actually. And that's what 5 energy does. It's uncomfortable shifts with a lot of things. But we've got this 5 of Cups. What it is that you are losing. I don't feel like you are losing anything. I think that you are being made to feel like you are losing something. And I think it's got you doubting your own judgment, because we've got this 5 of Swords here, which is about often getting stuck in cognitive loops. I mean, maybe these people are being very persuasive and this has kind of got you second guessing yourself. This feeling of gratitude that is being expected of you too. I actually don't like that in your recent past. I don't like it at all, and I don't like the way that it's muddied your thinking either. And this 10 of Pentacles is very, very stable. Things always having been one way and then should be staying that way because that's just what it is. You know, it's a very earth kind of, almost inflexible at times energy going on. But you seem to be being emotionally triggered here, and it's changing the way that you think about this, or trying to, at least, because there is a conflict here going on. There is an active conflict there between 2 different modes of thought. But we've got the 9 of Cups at the bottom of the deck. It's all about what is important for you. Yeah, look there. High Priestess hiding behind the 9 of Cups. It is all about what is important for you. And this is a struggle, a very deep internal struggle with you, but an opportunity to heal, an opportunity to assert, right, in a way that you have not ever felt really comfortable with asserting yourself anyway. Because for you, it felt like the big thing to make the decision in the first place, right? I've thought this through, I've made my decision, this is what I'm going to do, right? And it's almost like a part of you just expected everybody to go along with it, as they should have done, frankly, because this is your decision. The real test for you, actually the real struggle, the real difficulty is navigating everybody else's response to it and the way that they attempt to I'm going to use the word manipulate because that's what I heard, right? It's quite a pejorative term, but the way that they will try and manipulate you to keep you where you are. This is the point of resistance that you need to break through, because this is all about really standing up for and asserting what is right for you, not everybody else. This is really intriguing. I'm actually really impressed by how this has presented here. I love reading the Pisces because you never know what you're going to get. It's so deep. Right. As fascinating as this is, I really want to go over to Vimeo now and kind of pull this apart a little bit. So if you want to join me over there, the link is in the description box. If not, May is a month to stick to your guns, right? But really take the time to make sure that you're emotionally exploring the right aspect of this energy, and it is where you have come up against other people and their emotional needs or whatever it is, and your reaction to it there, because I feel like that's where the gold is for you this month, Pisces. Yeah, right. Know that I love you all very, very much, and I will see you soon.